be kind to each other in the comments. We've got some tag team unhappiness again, it seems. We did actually have to check that we hadn't done this video title before, and we had. About the same team. It's FTR, specifically Dax Harwood. He has tweeted that he quits. I'm sure it's just a way to drum up some heat between him and AEW Tag Division, but we'll dive into that very shortly. I'm Mr. Davis. I'm joined by Lukewarm Luke Owen, and today's episode of the WrestleTalk Podcast is sponsored by Wrestling GM. There's a little logo there, and there's a link there.
Indeed, there is. There's a video description. Sorry, there's a link in the video description and the podcast description. Go and give that a little click. I've actually had several messages from people since we started advertising this last week on the Raw show saying that they've downloaded it and they absolutely love it. If you're like me, if you're a grumpy old man, you will have likely played EWR back in the day of, it's Premier Manager, but actually about something interesting in terms of wrestling. So I don't want to do silly football stuff. I want to do wrestling stuff. It's like that, and you get to manage shows, you get put on shows, book angles, book matches, book feuds, build your championships up, build feuds. It's so much fun. We're going to be playing a little bit of it later on in today's show because I've now fixed the technical issue that I had last week when I was trying to do this. You're welcome.
Oh, fixed. Let's see what happens live, brother. But yes, let's talk about the tag division in AEW because that's what the show was mostly structured around, I'd argue. We got 2 tag matches. The main event was a tag match between the Bucks and the Varsity Blondes. Moxley and Kingston ran in at the end and beat the Bucks down and stole their expensive trainers. They're going to be fighting at Double or Nothing next Sunday. But missing on all of this is FTR, who just never seem to get a tag match these days, and it has prompted Uncle Dax, as his Twitter handle is now, to tweet, "Every team has gotten a tag team title shot except us. We've been ranked in the top 5 since we dropped the belts to the execs," that's the Young Bucks. "If Mox and Kingston jump us in line 2, I'll quit the biz." And then an hour later, when that match was made, I quit.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, they're a bit busy at the moment. They've had some other stuff on their plate, I would argue sort of since February or so time. They've been a bit more busy hanging out with MJF and the Pinnacle. But I think the argument could be made that, yeah, they haven't had a tag title shot since November last year, which was a fair while ago now. And they are consistently one of the best tag teams. And actually, I can't even think the last time they had a tag team match on Dynamite.
Yeah, no, I can't either. And I've got to be honest, I fully expect the Bucks to retain a Double or Nothing against Kingston and Moxley. The Bucks are heels, huge heels now. And a heel Bucks versus heel FTR. I mean, they weirdly tried to book that last year, realized it was a bad idea, and turned Bucks fully babyface in the match. But that was at Full Gear, wasn't it? So I can't see heel Bucks turning anytime soon, and thus not having a proper championship feud and title shot with FTR.
I just also want to make this quite clear. We're aware it's a work, everyone. We're very aware it's a work. It's drumming up conversation is what we're doing, but as a few people be like, guys, this is it's a work, right?
Hey, it's a shoot work. I'm sure it's a work. I am also sure they want to fight for the tag team titles. They're proud boys.
Well, they are very proud, but not those kind of proud boys.
Though. Oh yeah,
but they are
those proud boys. Jeez.
No. Oh, crikey. That one you released from NXT as well. They are very proud of tag team wrestling, and they do want to be tag team wrestlers. They want to be at the top of the tag team division. But I think we all saw the writing on the wall. Very much once the Bucks won the belts and they started this whole it looked like Moxley was not going to be going after Omega again for the belts at Double or Nothing. I think we all saw the writing on the wall that it would be Moxley and Kingston versus the Young Bucks at Double or Nothing. And I got to be honest, it's probably the match I'm most excited for on the Double or Nothing card. Certainly isn't Cody's match. And I think I'm really, really into. I love Moxley and Kingston as a tag team. And you were like that you were pretty sure that the Bucks will retain. But I'd kind of like to see Moxley and Kingston win.
What, and have a Mox Kingston FTR feud afterwards? I mean, I thought
really fun.
We all thought Gallows and Anderson would win the Impact Tag Team titles back, but they didn't go in that direction. I thought the idea was to put all the gold on all of the Elite, but yeah, we're actually just getting all the gold on all the Kenny. So maybe I just think, like, Renee is pregnant, the baby's on the way. We all figured that the exploding barbed wire death match was the way to write Moxley off of TV, and he was brought back. And I think these are an extra couple of months just to sort of ride that botch out, really. So I'd imagine after this he takes a break from wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, maybe I don't know. Like, I would expect that, yeah. I mean, like I was saying, like, I would love to see Mox and Kingston win. I think the Bucks will win, but I would love to see, because I'm really into them as a tag team. They had a squash match on, was it February 17th? There you go. Was the last
this
time
is from
FTR.
From Berkey there against the Sydal brothers. So that's, 4 months ago. 3 months ago.
Dax had a few singles matches, hasn't he? Because he had that one with Jungle Boy, and I think he had another one after that as well. Was it against Jericho or something? There you go, Andy Datson, busy as usual in the chat to let us know that Renee is due mid-June. So it's actually not that far away. I mean, it's only a few weeks away. So you would imagine then probably not going to be winning the tag titles anytime soon, unless, of course, he's just going to take a month off with the tag straps, and just take them away from TV for a bit. But I think the money is in the Bucks retaining, really, and staying on as those heel champions and finding that babyface team to be the ones to dethrone them.
Well, the way the tag division story played out on this episode of Dynamite was that we got a really fun match of Kingston and Moxley going up against the Acclaimed. The idea is they want to make a dent on the tag division. They're two singles guys. So let's get these tag match reps under our belts in the 10 days before Double or Nothing.
In fairness to them, they've had a lot of tag matches on Dark and Dark Elevation.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't know that because they don't show that sort of stuff on Dynamite. And we were joking about this last week that the being the Elite put out that video where it's like it should have been on Dynamite as a way to sort of work Meltzer and stuff. But I mean, in fairness, it should have been on Dynamite.
Should have been on Dynamite. The Kingston Mox versus Acclaimed match I thought was really good. I liked how Moxley, while Kingston and Moxley could probably definitely beat the Acclaimed individually, there was a bit of tag team intrigue because Moxley quite a few times just found himself in the opposition's corner and they got to work him over after that hot tag. But ultimately, Kingston and Moxley won. But everyone's talking about the Acclaimed's rap to come out. Good God. They have begun. Remember when they started? And I was like,
yeah,
don't know about this. The last couple of months, probably a little bit longer, actually. They're one of my favorite things on the show. I really look forward to their raps.
Yeah, I think it was SP3 tweeted out when the Acclaim got signed. I think it was SP3 tweeted that the world is about to see how great this tag team is. And I thought about that tweet when you were like, I think it's perfectly fine. And I was like, oh, maybe I know. SP3 is a guy that I very much trust in his opinion. Let's hold him say. And now we're at that period of time where it's like, oh yeah, it turns out once again, he was very much right. I've got the line that everyone is talking about, though. It's the line he used at the end of this when he said to Jon Moxley, call your girl. She's all in my mentions, trying to hit me up for some oral sessions. The crowd oh! And then Anthony Bowen just goes, what? She really wants us on the podcast.
Very, very good. Really, really popped me. And did you see Moxley put his hands over Kingston's ears when he said that line? No. This is too rude for you, Eddie Kingston, scariest man in the AEW. And then the main event was the Young Bucks taking on the Varsity Blondes. Now, this was a good match. Of course it was. Varsity Blondes had a great promo earlier on. Really good promo, actually. Brian Pillman Jr. talking about how his father was the force that actually kept him away from wrestling. That tragic story there. But it was the Young Bucks that got him and Griff Garrison into wrestling. And now look at them. They've turned heel. They're like these horrible people. They're going to get their revenge or whatever. Really fun match. Bucks cheated to win with the cold spray. and Mox and Kingston beat them down afterwards. I guess it's not. So weirdly, AEW, and I've said it loads, since about mid-November last year, have had the best run, most consistent run of weekly wrestling TV I've ever seen. And it lasted until the moment that NXT moved to Tuesday nights. And I'm not saying AEW is bad at all. It's still by far my favorite wrestling show to watch. I'm still getting the Khan coin. But that something happened on that week where AEW, and this is great, they're focusing on younger talent. They're giving guys the TNT title main events to get over Darby and get over his opponents. They're focusing on the Varsity Blondes in this main event here. But I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like they've taken back a gear.
I don't think it's since NXT. I think it's since Blood and Guts. I think the last 2 weeks have been okay, pretty good, solid wrestling television. I'd say is what it is. But I really enjoyed the build up to Blood and Guts. I think that was some really, really good stuff on those shows, and I enjoyed the Blood and Guts show itself as well. I would say that since then, I think is where it feels like they've taken the foot off the gas a little bit, which is weird because there's a pay-per-view next week. So maybe we'll see what happens on the other side of Double or Nothing and kind of see what that landscape is like, because, they're going to be touring again very soon. Maybe they're now back in that mode again, like they were at the start of the pandemic, where they were like, well, we don't want to do too much here because we want to wait until fans are back in the arena. And they held off and they held off and they held off until Tony Khan was like, I don't think we're going back anytime soon. So we're going to have to start pulling some triggers before we can and actually get some of these angles going. And so I wonder if it's a case of just, we're going to be back in front of fans as of June, July. So let's wait until we're back in front of fans. Then we can start really pulling out the big guns again.
You might be onto something there, because it's not just the pandemic end in sight or the lockdown end in sight, fans in attendance, but the NBA playoffs are happening right now. And by all accounts, this week's rating isn't going to be very high at all. So if AEW do a low number in the ratings that Brian Alvarez tweets out tonight, hopefully there's a reason for it. And for the next 2 to 3 weeks, AEW is having to move to Fridays. A fact that they didn't really push as much as I think they should have. So I think by circumstance, the next month potentially is kind of a holding period where they can't really progress much. It's awkward because you've got this huge Double or Nothing pay-per-view in the middle of it. Just as a bit of housekeeping for that, because it's going to move to Fridays 10 p.m. Me and Luke aren't going to do the Dynamite reviews while that's happening. So we'll do next week's predictions in place of this show for Double or Nothing. But then after that, we'll wait till it comes back onto Wednesdays, which will be in June time.
Yeah, we essentially get a week off, I think, because I think there's 2 weeks where it's on a Friday. Yeah, it's 2 weeks where it's on a Friday. So we're back 2 weeks of no AEW Dynamite reviews. But as I said, we'll do the prediction show next week. I felt like as well, just to go back to this show itself and this main event tag match of the Varsity Blondes and the Young Bucks. I think you might, you skipped over, so you just said, the Young Bucks cheated. So it's slightly more complex than that. Just to run you through, because good crikey, I had to take a lot of notes. I had to pause because I had to take so many notes. So Matt had Brian Pillman Jr. in the sharpshooter. Nick then sprays Brian Pillman Jr. in the face with the cold spray. Griff Garrison then breaks that up. Nick Jackson then takes out Griff Garrison and he feigns a knee injury. They then try to get the cold spray back in so they can spray Brian Pillman or hit him with the thing or something. Julia Hart, who is now part of this group, gets on the ring and distracts Matt Jackson, who then sprays her in the face with the cold spray. That's, let me just get my notes here. That distracts the referee for the third cold spray to be thrown in, which Matt... No, did I get this wrong? Yeah, they threw the second one in. Julia Hart distracted the ref. Then they sprayed her in the face. Then they get the sharpshooter again on Brian Pillman Jr. Nick Jackson does the X Factor combination on that and then does a moonsault onto the floor to Griff Garrison. And then Brian Pillman taps. Wonderfully, wonderfully overbooked.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole Young Bucks' heel shtick, isn't it? Let's see what you guys think. The that Mod Mother has put a sort of majority take for the Tag Team Unhappiness opening topic. Guys, did you know it's a work? And that is with the letters capitalized and lowercased. No, again, I maintain this is 100% a shoot. Matthew McFadden. This might sound weird, but I think Miro's promos are even better due to the fact English isn't his first language. The occasional stumble with wording makes him sound even more unhinged. Also, Max Caster calling John Moxley lunatic cringe too good. Even if English was his first language like mine. I can't speak it properly. Gabriel Caruso. Miro's promos the past few weeks have had me on my feet, clapping and yelling, "That's how it's done," in my living room. Such a believable badass. Archer is a great promo too. Really excited for their match at Double or Nothing. Creative freedom rules. New Punk rants. I know it can't happen, but I want Miro Day. I don't even care that's a WWE thing. He's the best. Velvet Deeb made me tear up. Deeb has Bret Hart vibes. Ogogo is a face at Double or Nothing. No one is going to boo him. MJF is promo of the year. AEW is the best. Hashtag Tony Khan is the GOAT.
New Punk rants. You really are undervaluing how much Americans love America. As soon as he comes out in the red, white, and blue, and the national anthem plays, and he's got the flags, America is going to be like, God, this country rules. We are the best. Yeah, boo this British man. Even though Cody has solved racism, even though he's also fighting someone from a mixed background. Yeah, America.
Yeah, never count out how being proud of being British makes me weirdly embarrassed sometimes. And I think but that's like a British feeling. Yeah, like we don't want to make a big deal out of it. Thanks.
Not really.
So those two combinations.
I'm incredibly unpatriotic for that very reason. Like if I drive past someone's house and they got a European flag outside their house, I'm like, oh, makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. Actually, they're probably lovely people, but I don't want to be patriotic. Thanks.
You just said a European flag.
Sorry, a Union Jack is more I meant. No, I need to get this right because Union Jack's not. I was going to say. Thank you very much. You would be the person. It'd either be you or Datsun to be the person. I think you'll find actually.
Well, I don't think their house is at sea, Luke, which would make it a Union Jack. The Portuguese Mr. Davis. Hi, lads. I thought this was a solid show. Love the Mox and Kingston promo. In-ring wrestling was great as usual. Overall, a low 4 out of 5. I can't say enough about how much you guys have helped me through these times. Love you all so much. Thank you, Portuguese Mr. Davis. Charles Berg. Moxley just needs glasses with no lenses to complete the transformation. What's that mean? Glasses, no lenses? Moxley? Why does he need that?
I mean, well, that would suggest that he is a hipster. Would you say that John Moxley is a hipster?
No. He's what hipsters want to be. Caster is like Cena before him, has the best insults. In regards to poor review, if the photos are creating an inconvenience for you, I'll stop sending them in. Sorry if I caused trouble.
No, I was messing.
No, Charles.
I'm just teasing. I'm teasing
Send in the
you.
doggies. Send in the doggies for me to roast. C18. They used the correct version of Wild Thing for Mox last night. The 80s cover by X, which Tony Khan has gone on.
Gone.
Yeah, Tony Khan's talked about that. It's from the film Major League, which, apparently last week's match against Nagata was a surprise. Moxley didn't know he was going to have the Wild Thing music.
Really? Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
that's very
yeah.
lovely. Yeah, I mean, funny enough, actually, like the X thing is what a lot of people said yesterday because of Major League and all that sort of stuff, and it works so much better, so much better.
And finally, for now, Genetic Ghost. Eddie and Mox are a great parallel to the Bucks. They worked out their issues with each other and became better friends. The Bucks have never confronted their real issues with Kenny from 2018, and that's what's harming their relationship even now. Beautiful reading, Genetic Ghost. I love that very much. Shall we say thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Wrestling GM?
Indeed. Oh, hold on. Wait just right there.
Uh-oh, here comes the production.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He got it working.
That's a live feed of Luke's phone. Look at that.
Indeed it is, yeah. So here is how this works. So I've currently booked, your shows have got to be 90 minutes in length. You've got to have 2 matches and 1 angle required. I've already booked something for 29 minutes. So if I add a segment, I'm going to do, what would you like? Do you want a triple threat?
Yeah. It's
a triple threat match. Yeah, I'll do a triple threat. Do you want a normal? Do you want a stipulation on there? Should we do it as a cage match?
Yeah, or no ladder. You know I like a ladder.
Oh, I've already got a ladder match on this show, so I'm going to do it as a cage match, I'm afraid. And then you've got your various, your 3 people here. You can feed that down. Are you trying to get notifications to come up on my phone? Because you're texting me. I have notifications turned off on my phone, mates. That was never going to work.
Damn it. How did you know that?
What,
I've WhatsApped you, hey Luke, a few times.
Yeah, because I've got notifications on my desktop. So I can do this by face. So I'm going to put Grundy in this match. Then side B. Let's put a main event.
Bash Wagner.
Bash Wagner, you want?
I love the name Bash Wagner.
Bash Wagner. Let's see. Well, let's do a main event male. Let's put Hercules Herman in the match. And
good luck.
And on side 3, we'll do a mid-card heel. And we'll put in Dan Brickhouse.
A lot of fans.
I get to pick who winners. Dan Brickhouse is I'm going to have that win there. He was going to go out via submission, and that's going to go for 24 minutes complete. And that's now added to my show. And then you can add segments. You could do an angle. I could do a backstage attack with one-on-one between Bash Wagner and
Bash Wagner's all over this show.
He's my guy. And you book that for 9 minutes. And then basically you just keep on doing that. And sometimes you filled out your show. You can start your feuds. You can change who wins the titles. It's a really, really fun way to book a wrestling show. Bearing in mind as well, I've taken over a British division here as well, a British promotion. So yeah, good stuff. Wrestling GM, links for it in the video description down below. I'm a big, big fan of this. It's a good way to fill some time while you're waiting for other things to happen. And that's what mobile games should do. Find a way to distract you from boring normal life or watching Raw.
Yeah, I my bathroom is so boring, and I go to the toilet a lot. And I'm like, what am I going to do while I'm just sitting here doing nothing? I don't know, Wrestling GM. There it is. So, link in the video description below. Please go over there and help support the wonderful sponsors. It needs women.
It's got women.
It has
women on there. Yeah,
but Luke doesn't book them. That's Luke's fault. So please do go over and support Wrestling GM. They're really cool and they've been really nice to us. So yeah, at least go over there, download it, give it a go, and see if you like it. So this episode of AEW Dynamite started off with Matt Sydal versus Christian Cage in I love watching Christian Cage wrestle. It's nothing spectacular, but everything feels like really desperate for him. He really does feel like Logan. It's this grizzled vet. He's come out for one last run. And it's just got this, there's not the threat of retiring hanging over him, but it is like the threat of a legacy coming to an end. And I just think it adds such a layer of drama to everything. And he got the win with the kill switch here. I loved it. I just really like watching him wrestle.
Yeah, I thought that Moxley and Kingston versus the Acclaimed was my favorite thing on the show, but kind of looking back on it, I really enjoyed this Christian Cage match and the story that they're telling with him. I thought it was really, really good stuff, particularly because Taz adds so much on commentary. Because Taz is wonderful on commentary when he is just burying people that he doesn't like. I never liked Christian. The guy's an idiot. He's a dog. I never liked that guy. And he was brilliant as well. And then the rest of Team Taz comes out. Well, Ricky Starks comes out first. And I was like, oh, Ricky Starks, because he's massively injured at the moment. Right? And I was like, oh, this is cool that Ricky still gets to be in something. And the rest of Team Taz, no seemingly infighting with them anymore. I guess because you can't do the Brian Cage, Ricky Starks match. Go on.
But there are the seeds still. It's just very subtle. At the end, after the beatdown angle, Powerhouse Hobbs kind of bumped shoulders with Brian Cage, and Cage gave him a shifty look.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I missed that. I missed out on that subtlety. AEW being too subtle for this dumb guy. And they beat up. Hangman Page then comes out, does a literal hold my beer segment with him, runs down to make the save. And then in the end, it was like Hook gets in and chop blocks Hangman Page down so that Brian Cage can lay him out with the powerbomb because they're having a match at Double or Nothing. Big fan of this. Multiple spinning plates, lots of storylines all going on, merging into one to build the Battle Royal. I was a fan of this.
After that, we got the Varsity Blondes promo, which was really good. Griff Garrison, by the way, someone who really was just brought into AEW, it seems, to be a lookalike of Jungle Boy for one comedy bit. But, it seems like he just worked hard enough, kept himself around, made himself useful, kept on bringing his gear, and look where he is now. He's main eventing the show. So, I was happy for the guy.
Yeah, really happy. And it was nice to have Julia Hart there with them as well, because she became part of their act on Dark or Dark Elevation, whichever one of the shows it was. So it was nice to kind of like introduce her to the sort of like wider audience there. It's a good job I don't have notifications on my phone, by the way, because my wife has just texted me, I really love you and I fancy you a lot. So, which would have been quite the embarrassment.
That's what I was texting you. Because it's opposite day. Take that. We got Kingston and Mox versus the Acclaimed after that, which was really funny and fun. Marvez goes to interview Chris Jericho backstage, who's got his broken arm, and Dean Malenko.
Yeah, a reference to the man of 1,004 holds. Oh, love all of this. This is great.
So love seeing Dean there. Of course, he's a producer, agent backstage in AEW. This was sort of the first thing where I was like, I'm a bit bored now. So Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page are doing an in-ring promo with Tony Schiavone, and they're talking about how they beat up Sting and Darby last week or the week before, which cost Darby the title eventually. Darby and Sting run out, beat them up, get Sky in the Scorpion Deathlock, and then they escape, and they're kind of chased off by the Dark Order as well. I'm not into this.
I think Denise Salcedo put it best, where she was like, Sting is the politest wrestler. He let Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky finish their promos when no one lets him finish his. But he was like, no, I'm going to give those kids their time. I'm going to give them their mic time. Then I'm going to go out there and beat them up. So, props to Sting for that. What a nice guy to let the younger talent get themselves over. I thought this was perfectly fine. The big thing out of this is that Sting is going to have a live wrestling match, his first in 6 years in front of fans. It's not going to be like, we're very clear, this is not a cinematic match. This will be an in-ring match. So I think that's quite cool.
Yeah. I just want Sky and Page, brilliant individually. I just don't feel it, like they haven't done, I don't know what they can do to make me into them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, like they've been on TV a lot as well, like attacking Sting and attacking Darby,
but always running away.
Yeah, and so maybe that's it. I wonder if they're going to do like a big beatdown angle next week to try and put some heat onto them before the go, like on the go home show.
I'm excited about Sting wrestling in front of a crowd, of course, but Darby and Sting together tagging, it just like it puts me back into the never-ending 4-month feud with Team Taz. I was kind of really getting into Darby again as a singles guy. And I don't know. I wasn't into this at all.
I'll tell you why it also doesn't massively work either. It's because they were like, oh, well, Darby was one of the reasons that he lost to Miro last week. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't really put Miro over much. Like, Miro won because he's the best and he's the best man. Miro didn't win because Page and Sky interfered. Miro won because he was dominating and he absolutely dominated him. So it doesn't really work on a lot of on a lot of levels.
Then we got the Pinnacle in a restaurant, which was a really cool new way to see them. They're all having this meal and they're drinking their wine. FTR looks so cool drinking wine, don't they?
Okay, yeah.
Wardlow like starts the segment downing a bottle of wine and then puts it down and goes, another. And everyone's like, yeah, I'll have another 2, please. MJF cuts a promo. Guy comes over to serve more wine. Spears gets... it was cool what he was going for, like the unhinged, psychotic Shawn Spears. But I don't think it worked here. And he sort of slammed down the waiter's head for not pouring his drink fast enough. And then Tully pretty coolly chucked him a wad of money, the waiter, to like some hush-hush money. But yeah, I enjoyed this all, but I thought Sean's bit was a bit of a misfire.
My 2 notes I had from this: I very much enjoyed someone going onto YouTube, typing in restaurant SFX, pressing enter, right-clicking the link from that, and then going into like a YouTube audio downloader and downloading that to put that underneath to make it sound like it was a busy restaurant. Appreciate the effort that was put into it. And go on.
That's how we do ours.
I know, but we're not $1 billion company. And the other thing as well is that the wine that they were drinking looked like it was rosé wine. It was very, very light in color. It didn't look very full-bodied, not the sort of wine that I would expect FTR to be drinking. I would have thought for them to be going for something a bit more richer, be the wine I would expect out of them. It looks like they were drinking squash that I'm currently drinking now.
Are you saying it was working wine?
I think it might, like his tweet. I think it was working wine.
I don't know. Come on. After that, we got Rebel versus Shida, which, we're 2 episodes away, this episode included, from the Shida versus Britt Baker match at Double or Nothing. And this is another feud where I'm like, well, this should be better by this point. And when you look at the people involved, you're like, well, yeah, Shida should go through Rebel at some point. It's an easy squash match. She's Britt Baker's goon, so it all works. But there's an element of goofiness to Baker's character that I very much enjoy. But sometimes I think you have to park that to one side and go like they did with the Rosa match, and go, here's the serious part. And I feel like we needed the serious part, but this was more goofy.
They had kind of I feel like they had the right idea in this as well. Like, it felt like the finish of this that they kind of teased, I thought was going to be really cool as well, because this match only needs to go less than a minute, and it went slightly over a minute, so it might have gone a bit longer than it probably needed to, because there was interference spots that I don't think were in it. This needed literally Shida just knock her out and either tap her out or whatever it was. She tapped her out with the stretch muffler, but she set herself up to do the lockjaw. So I thought the finish is going to be Shida is going to tap out Reba with Britt Baker's own finish. But in the end, they did a distraction thing, and then they never went back to that, and she just tapped her out with the stretch muffler instead. It's almost like it was right there. Why didn't you just do it? And then you could have really put that over as something, instead of just doing a distraction and making the match go for another 45 seconds and then tap her out with a different move. I mean, because Baker at the end does the curb stomp onto the title and holds up, which was a cool visual to end on. Just the match felt a bit I don't know, a bit choppy, and I wasn't but they had all the right elements in place.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, a bit of a misfire. But after that, I thought we got a great segment, this was filmed. I don't know if it was filmed from last week, but the idea was that it was last week. It's Orange Cassidy in the trainer's room. He's recovering after being knocked out by Pac in that match. And Kenny Omega and Don Callis walk in and are like, hey, Cassidy, you don't want to fight Kenny. You might injure yourself even more. That you can have a future title shot, but not in a 3-way. So here's a contract. Don't worry, it will guarantee you a later title shot down the line, but not at Double or Nothing as part of this 3-way. And Cassidy just slowly tears it, just the slowest tear in two. And Kenny and Don are just looking at it, and Kenny says, "You didn't even read it." It really broke me. I thought that was good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. And then, but Omega is getting serious after that, being hey, that power bomb, you couldn't have seen it coming. It really, really hurt you. But can you imagine what will happen if I have you up on my shoulders and I drop you down with the one-winged angel? Could end your career. Lucky for you, we printed 2 versions of the contract, so we'll leave this one with you. We'll give you a week to think about it. For me, this whole thing really worked, and I very much enjoyed this. But it's starting to make me feel like Pac is the afterthought of this match. This is a feud between Omega and Cassidy that Pac is a part of, as opposed to it as being a 3-way feud.
Yeah, and it's another one. This is the main event, presumably. It's the championship match at Double or Nothing.
I don't think it will be.
I don't feel like it's particularly firing yet.
No, I don't think it's going to be the main event. I mean, if anything, the Stadium Stampede will be the main event.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not Stadium Stampede, then I think it'll be the tag match. But I certainly don't think it'll be this.
Well, let's talk about the Stadium Stampede, because after that we got the... Oh, by the way, we'll have Cassidy's answer next week, which again isn't really a cool hook. AEW are much better at these cliffhangers normally, where I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? But this is like, oh, Cassidy's totally going to say, no, I will fight you in the triple threat. But here we had Inner Circle come out, Jericho, Ortiz, Hager, and Sammy, because Santana is still out, but hopefully he'll be back next week. And they cut a promo. They all got a chance to speak, and they're like, we're gonna have the Stadium Stampede next week, a Double or Nothing, because if we can't beat you, we don't deserve to be together anymore. And Jericho said, we will dance all over their faces and piss on your grave. And they kept on repeating, you will have to kill us to beat us.
Yeah, I like this promo. I thought it was pretty good. I think I'm a little bit like Jericho is always out at the top of the hour. You're going to get a Jericho segment. That kind of feels like that's the formula for Dynamite at the moment. And it's often times where I'm like, I don't think this needed to be in front of the crowds. Like, we probably could have done something else here. But it was a good promo. You know, it's a decent promo, but I don't know if it like got me more invested in Stadium Stampede than last week's segments. I think it's just I'm down on this feud now since Blood and Guts, because I feel like that should have been this big crescendo, and it was just sort of a stepping stone.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Blood and Guts was the climax there, and I fully expect it not to be a goofy thing. I think they'll do a serious Stadium Stampede by the way the feud's been presented. But it's just like the only Stadium Stampede we have been given so far is an out-and-out comedy match.
Yeah.
And what Blood and Guts was the one to end this feud on. So it's just it's fine. It's fine, but I just feel, and we've said it from the start, I just feel like this feud's been told out of order, starting with Blood and Guts and then having matches after that. Surely that's the end point.
And I think it's going to go on until All Out, because I still think that the end goal of this is MJF versus Jericho in a singles, which you would extend out to another pay-per-view, unless you do it as like a pay-per-view, like a special episode of Dynamite or something.
I also think, and we said this last week, but Jericho in his promo was saying that he'll never be the same again after the Blood and Guts match. And, he delivers these lines really well. There's nothing else he could have done on this episode. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't believe it, because he was only gone a week. He's got a broken arm. That's it. I don't buy any of this, unfortunately. And they keep saying, and I imagine it is to get over the seriousness of this stipulation, yeah, you will have to kill us. So do you think that's going to have a big, there's going to be not a death spot, but some kind of even bigger injury redo for Jericho falling off something tall?
So, do you think the Pinnacle are winning? Do you think they're going to break up in a circle?
I think they have to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want the Pinnacle to lose. I think the Inner Circle would probably benefit from breaking up.
I think it's, I got, my feeling is that the Inner Circle win this one. And I really like the idea that the finale of this is Jericho MJF singles match with Jericho's career on the line. And maybe that is Jericho's retirement match. But is Jericho ready to retire? That's the other thing. Maybe are we all just like on this train of thinking it's a retirement match when actually he's nowhere near a retirement match.
Mm-hmm. After that, we had Jade Cargill telling, what's his name, Mark Sterling? He was the lawyer in the MJF Jericho feud, MJF Moxley feud last year, just to go away. People are trying to court her to represent her. And then we had my favorite match of the night, Serena Deeb versus Red Velvet. I thought this was excellent. And I didn't start at it started. I was like, cool, this is a match. By the end, on the edge of my seat, I thought Deeb worked slightly heelish, worked really, really well, and just it was just so simple. Work over the leg. Kept working over the leg, and made her tap in the end.
Yeah, I really like the finish of this, where Red Velvet escaped out of Serena Deeb's submission and then went to run the ropes, and Deeb just ran with her and just chopped her down, started smashing down the knee to lock it in again. I thought it was a really, really cool finish. This is like Deeb has not been wrestled, like she hasn't wrestled for ages because she's been out with an injury. It's like her first match back in like 3 months or something. But yeah, like I really, really enjoyed this. That dragon screw through the ropes was really wicked. So that was awesome. Yeah, I mean, my biggest note I had from this was 2 women's matches on the same show. That's insane.
Come on, man. The Rebel one was 2 minutes at best. We got a Pac promo, didn't really say anything new. Then we had Austin and Gunn versus Anthony and Ogogo as part of the Nightmare Family versus Factory feud, which will be Ogogo versus Cody Rhodes at Double or Nothing. Gunn started off really fast, but it just led to 1 Ogogo gut punch, 2 Ogogo gut punch, throwing him up, 3 Ogogo gut punch, and the referee called it off via stoppage.
That pop-up punch is such a better finish than the gut punch. It's such a better finish. It looks like wrestling is a visual thing. And the gut punch, I don't think is getting over as much as they think it might have done. But the pop-up version of it, I think the pop-up version works so much better. From a personal standpoint, I think the pop-up version looks way better. And what I did like about this was, like, as soon as the match was over and Cody gets into the ring, takes the American flag with him because America and all that, America. And like Anthony Ogogo grabs and he's like, "Oh, what, America? Oh, it's a flag. Is it? Oh, I don't want you British, isn't it? Governor." What I did like about this is referees just like piling out of the locker room to be like, we need to officiate this. We need to make sure these two don't clash, because now is not the time for them to be clashing. That's for the pay-per-view. They've got the weigh-in next week. So there's elements of this I like, but man alive, I could not care about this feud whatsoever.
I'm into it. I'm a simple base creature. I get that nobody else likes it. But surely there's something everybody has that they like and nobody else does. This is it for me. I could lie and say and crap on it and get the likes and the easy thumbs like Lucas, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
We got an interview with Kaz and Daniels backstage after their breakup, but they're forced to break up in the Bucks match last week. And Marvez asked if this is Daniels' retirement. He's still, he's giving every indication that this is the retirement, but he's not explicitly saying it. He did a sort of lost in translation whisper into Kaz's ear and walked off, and Kaz cut a very good revenge promo. Poor guy, his father passed away this week, Kaz. So, yeah. Well wishes to Kaz.
Absolutely. Yeah, best wishes out there to Kaz. I really enjoyed this promo as well. I like this idea of him hunting down every single member of the Elite, seemingly starting with Gallows and Anderson, like those were his first targets. So I'm all for main event Kaz. I'm totally in for it.
I'm all for TNT title Kaz. Yeah, I agree. And after that, because we already covered the main event, we got another one of the highlights of the show, definitely. Miro came out to cut a promo to thank Jesus Christ for protecting him and for giving him the strength to destroy people. Miro! Oh my God. Just give the man a mic, put him out there for 5 minutes every week. It's better than a squash match. Him with a microphone.
Made me laugh so much. Like, I'd like to thank Jesus Christ for protecting me. Really made me laugh. And then Lance Archer comes out with Jake the Snake being like, "Hey man, you can't go out there, man." And Lance Archer goes out and be like, I was a beast in AEW long before you were. I was a beast in AEW while you were still trying to have a day to yourself. And Archer's like, "Do you know what? I'm really looking forward to Double or Nothing. I'm looking forward to us just getting in the ring and just beating everyone up and just like beating each other up. I think it's going to be really fun." But Miro's like, "I ain't got time for you. You say that everybody dies. Yeah, you're going to be the first one to die." I thought there was some really, really good stuff in this. I think this is going to be a proper meaty man match, and I'm all in for it.
Also, the line to Jake the Snake Roberts, "Not all the yoga in the world is going to save you." God, he is. It's like he's been perfecting the art of trash talk on Twitch for a year just for this. I'm so glad we're finally getting like the full version of Miro. This was the Miro we all wanted 9 months ago. So better late than never. And it was announced Miro's going to face Dante Martin, 20-year-old Dante Martin next
that ain't
Friday.
going long.
Or will it? Will he just murder someone on TV for 10 minutes? I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait. But overall, yeah, I thought this was... There's not much to talk. Usually with the big AEW shows, there's like amazing things to talk about. But the things I liked here were mostly small bits. It was Miro's promo. It was Caster's rap. It was, good in-ring action, but there always is on Dynamite. So I gave this 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I would have given it 3 out of 5 as well, but you and I appear to be out of step once again. 4 out of 5, wow. 55% gave it a 4 out of 5 on our community tab, and 22% giving it a middle of the road 3 out of 5, 15% saying it was a 5 out of 5 all elite show. So yeah, you and I, man, I feel like we are just out of step with a lot of the chat as of late.
Yeah, well, people, the Khan coin reaches far and wide. Yeah, we will, like I said, if you weren't here earlier, we won't be doing the next 2 weeks at least of AEW Dynamite reviews because it's moving to a different time, but we will be here next week for the predictions. Hey, in the meantime, if you're without something to listen to, how about become a pledge hammer on Patreon, because me and Luke review TNA Sacrifice 2008 tomorrow. My God, is that a bad show? Thanks for choosing it, Patreons.
Yeah, our patrons seem to really like it when we get a bad show that we don't enjoy watching. And this was a bad show that we did not enjoy watching. We had a fun time reviewing it, though, including me finding forum posts that I made in 2008 about this show, which I got to read out. We discovered them while we were recording. I didn't pre-plan any of it. And I got to read them and react to it in real time. From 13 years ago, 22-year-old Luke Owen talking about wrestling online. Oh, it's a time. It very is. Also, main event Kaz. Kaz was in the main event of that show.
Yeah, no one wanted him there.
Oh, bless him.
Hey, that's not my words. The words of Luke Owen from 2008 on the Smart Marks forum.
Genuinely is. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't belong in the main event though, does he?
These guys will never make it. All these young, small indie guys, Luke would write. He wants the XWCW guys to be pushed more.
Yeah, that's what I was writing on the Smart Marks forums in 2008. So it's like, hey, Scott Steiner really should be in the main event of this show. He's the guy that deserves to be there. I was just all about Samoa Joe at that point. All about Samoa Joe.
Well, you won't just get WrestleTalk Extra, which should come out tomorrow. You also get, if you pledge $25 a month or more, a wrestling name and a shout out on this very show in our Hall of Fame. Thank you, Marcus. He's got Sol Campbell.
That's a football joke full of flavour. Sean Blanford.
Infinite Crisis. Chris Jenkins.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Chuck Turner. Just turned 20 the other day.
Always leave the crowd wanting Brian Moore.
That's Shrek, of course, not the song. Duncan. Just Duncan.
Here comes the money, Fred Buckland.
Angelo Mercado.
Jordan, don't you dare call me Mountain. Do you?
Thomas O'Ciampa.
The Juan and only Gabriel.
And lastly, for this Hall of Fame class on the Thursday, the 20th of May, 2021, say it to my face, Riley Finlayson.
Thank you very much for the cheap pops in the comments. Last call for Hyperchats, WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one of them before the end of the show. We've got a lot, so let's get to these. Nick Corvello, who has four part. Oh, he's hacked the system. He's paid £1 a chat. The women's title build for the pay-per-view is such trash right now. Britt always gets the last word in, whether it's her constant promos or this quick match where it was basically just Rebel and Britt beating Shida down. It's making Shida look like a chump, and it's reminiscent of Alexa Bliss versus Bayley from 2017, where Alexa just kept bullying and beating Bayley without any comeuppance. The only way this makes sense to end now is with Shida retaining and humbling Britt in story, because if Britt wins at this point, it's just going to be a complete burial of Shida. Now, I like Britt, but the booking of this feud has been so lopsided, and I'm afraid she's going to become another Charlotte Flair since she's never elevated her opponents after feuds. She's always the only one getting elevated, whether it's win or lose, and I'm saddened by the fact that the IWC doesn't see this because they're all on the Britt Baker Kool-Aid, using IWC there. Something me and Luke in the audio podcast literally just said never gets said anymore.
I know, we were just talking about that because we were talking about the term smark doesn't get used anymore, which it did when I was on forums in 2000, in the mid 2000s. Yeah, like it's, I mean, this happens a lot when a wrestler gets popular. It's just like they get too popular, and then people are like, no, I'm done with it now. I want something else to be popular. And like, this is now, it's too popular. It's being too pushed. I don't think the booking of this feud is great, but I don't think like Britt Baker is the problem in any of this whatsoever.
Nemo Toad, Serena Deeb is pretty great. How could you keep her as only a trainer, WWE? That New Japan belt is cursed. Ospreay has had to vacate it from a neck injury. Never should have changed the design. Damn, yeah. God, it did that. I mean, what's it? Correlation or causation? Is it the title? Potentially. Stephen Guzman, top tier show for me. Can't pick what popped me more. Max Caster calling Eddie a box of Newport cigarettes, and that Renee Young lying to Moxley, or Miro going, thank you, Jesus Christ, for protecting, and thank you for giving me the strength and power to dominate all others. For me, it's the Renee line.
Yeah, that was the one that popped me.
Stephen Guzman again. Also got to mention Sean Spears slowly becoming my favourite member of the Pinnacle, loving how they're really portraying him as this violent man in the group. That promo he talked about drowning Sammy still gives me chills. Anthony Velasquez, 4 out of 5 show for me. I enjoyed everything, but the Cody program is not good in my opinion. In your opinion. Also, I love that Sean Spears is literally the crazy SOB in the Pinnacle. Michael Dominguez, really into the Varsity Blondes versus Young Bucks, but it's angle more than match. Like how y'all criticize WWE if they have 2 single stars, Mox and Eddie, beat Young Bucks. It undermines all the great tag teams. Also, who cares about QT if AEW spent years saying he's nobody? He's the AEW Bob Holly.
Have AEW spent years saying he's nobody?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think that's fair in terms of that. Also, like Mox and Eddie have been like a tag team. They have been racking up tag team wins. It's not like they just were 2 singles guys thrown together. They're 2 singles guys with a lot of history who have tagged previously and are now tagging again.
And there's a storyline running into it from the whole Elite feud as well. Jack Nichols, hey guys, what Bucky O'Hara's cool thing? What am I doing wrong here?
No, it's fine. I mean, that is a very niche reference because that's a reference to my other podcast. Thank you very much to that, Jack. It's what me and Ash say when we do like air quotes. We call them Bucky O'Hara's.
Ah, very cool thing. Do you think Cody is going to do to make us cringe at Double or Nothing? I reckon he's going to sacrifice a goat while Arn Anderson smiles and nods for him. Anyway, thanks for your great content. Good old devil worshipping segment will be fun, won't it?
He is going to have an Apollo Creed entrance from Rocky IV. Like, and Tony Khan is spending Khan coin. He may even come out to "Living in America" and do the whole thing. But if that's the case, then I want Anthony Ogogo to be the Ivan Drago in all of this.
Kevin, AERR might be my favorite line of the entire episode. I don't remember that line.
Oh no, that was when Anthony Bowen was getting into the ring after Matt Caster's promo, because he always goes like AEW, but going AEW, and then they attacked him. It's like AEW.
Nice. Nikolai Azzopardi, watching WWE Most Wanted Treasures is making it clear just how the Bucks are making their money back on those shoes by incorporating them into the storyline, making them collector's items. What a smart hustle. Zach Harris, really not a fan of Mox's new entrance song. Original was great. I think Royal Blood Lights Out would be a perfect entrance song for Mox. Jungle Boy and Cassidy's are great though. Also Sammy Guevara heel turn at Double or Nothing. I don't see that. Anything's possible.
I also agree that Moxley's original entrance song was better, and good shout to Royal Blood there.
Nate S. If you told me Eddie taking the Bucks' shoes was a shoot, I'd believe it, lol. Really great episode of Dynamite. Serena Deeb is back and looks better than ever. Love the Miro Archer segment. Really looking forward to that match now. Sarah Sullivan. My dad's been having a rough time ever since my little brother passed away. No. He's a massive boxing fan, and when he saw Ogogo and heard Mox's entrance song, he sat down with me and was smiling. asking questions along with the show. I love wrestling and AEW. That's a beautiful story. Abortion Reborn. Wonder if the Acclaim's rap are written by Cena's ghostwriter, Esoteric.
I find it, but they're all just written by Caster, from what I can gather.
Bacon Rasher. Hi, Luke and Ollie. Oliver. I don't get why Paige is paired with Sky. Think it would be better with Taz and Cage. Was cool to see Paige help. Oh my God, are you trying to screw with my...
Yeah, he's trying to trip you up here.
Was cool to see Paige help Cage last night, and I hope for a cage match of Paige and Cage versus Cage and Paige. PS, thoughts on Hit Row and NXT? Hashtag jam that intangible.
I mean, you've just got to check out last week's review of the NXT podcast, because I was on that show and I named it like the greatest faction of all time or something, because they are the best thing in NXT by leaps and bounds.
Born to be wild, being embarrassed by patriotism is very relatable, Luke. I'm a German and not proud of our country. Ever is literally all we do. Oh, except football, of course. Not a fan of Cody right now. Hope Anthony Ogogo squashes him. Christopher Jazzcat. Pillman Jr. promo seemed really heartfelt. Got me into the match, hoping they could pull off the upset. Omega and Callis as corporate, pretending to care about Orange Cassidy was too real. Next, they'll throw a pizza party instead of paying him overtime. New Punk rants. I'm into Ogogo and Cody. I just see Ogogo as a face. I don't know, Dark, Elevation, and Dynamite are all I watch, so I'm into everything to some degree or another. I'm invested like I was during WCW. Also, Very Morales is my new Juventud. He's great. Phantom FTW. Ogogo gut punches Cody. He then grabs his hand in pain. Cody lifts his shirt, revealing the American flag. What's harder than the No, it should be the Constitution. It should be the Declaration of Independence. Very good.
Oh, God, I love that so much. Jamie Villegas says, what do you think of AEW bringing in another secondary title? So much talent lets them give another chance for some gold. A light heavyweight X Division title. Have Guevara be the inaugural champion with Sabian, Starks, Penta, Phoenix challenging That Jam. Not everything needs to be over a title. You can just feud over other things.
However, they've got another show. I think that would warrant it.
And plus, are they going to rename the TNT title now that they're moving to TBS?
No.
Cool. Phantom FCW full gear. Mox wins the match, but not his friend back. Revolution. Mox loses the match, but gains his friend. Double or Nothing. Mox with his friend wins the match. It's like poetry. Michael Pellegrini, if Cody does not come out to Team America World Police, that we riot. Great show. I wish the Blondes won for some unpredictability on this show. Was it ever in doubt that the Bucks would lose? Would it make for a great story if they chased the belts before Double or Nothing? I don't know. They're just going to have to win them back next week.
Too early.
Yeah, dried chicken without flavor. I'm predicting Kenny Omega will recreate the Shawn Michaels Playboy cover pose with all the gold around him. Abortion Reborn. I don't know if we all want Hangman to kick out the one-winged angel, but I think it's more impactful to have Hangman kick out of it and to retain, not win the title.
Oh, I don't think so. I think the biggest pop possible is to win.
Nate S., if Cody really wants to pop and be cheered, he shouldn't come out to the national anthem. He should come out to Common Man Boogie, since he's the one, not only he's the American Dream. One of my favorite wrestling themes ever. He's just a common man. Abortion Reborn. I've cracked it, gents. No Phoenix match. No 5-star. It's simple. Sarah Sullivan. I'm going to be very controversial. I ain't digging the Bucks. I understand they're incredibly talented, but their matches are weird ref spots and silly, kind of like the lightsaber fights in the prequels. Cool looking, but a bit much. Hangman Hunk.
That's a great comparison of spot-filled matches. Yeah, I can... Never thought about it like that.
Genetic Ghost. Kenny had 3 objectives since turning heel. Get the AEW Championship, turn the Bucks dark side with him, and start collecting belts. Thinking about Kenny's character at this point, he's treating the Bucks like accessories to complete his look.
Genetic Ghost has some fantastic character takes.
He really does. Dried chicken without flavor. WWE said AEW Blood and Guts set the business back 30 years. WWE at Backlash, hold my beer with some zombies. Some stupid punk said, Fozzy is going on tour in a month. Write Jericho off by having him almost killed at Stampede. Break up the Inner Circle, who are demoralized without Jericho. Keep loyal Sammy targeting them at All Out. Bring Jericho back to save Sammy and blow off the feud. Not a bad shout, actually. Yeah, like you were saying about, like, you know, killing him off effectively. Could be a way to get him off so that he can go do the tour. I didn't know the Fozzy were touring, actually. So that makes, yeah, that should tie into something. The Zornies, you should absolutely watch the Acclaim's rap on Elevation around 34 minutes 20 seconds. I love the episode for its amount of young talent on it. Varsity Blunts, Acclaimed, Hook, Ricky, Red Velvet, Darby. Didn't even need Jungle Boy to lower the average age. Dry Chicken Without Flavor. Here's a booking idea. The Pinnacle win Stadium Stampede. The Inner Circle breaks up. Jericho and MJF continue the feud. They build their singles match at All Out. If Jericho wins, Inner Circle come back. If MJF wins, Jericho has to retire.
I don't think you want to go backwards for the Inner Circle, and I don't think you want Jericho to retire yet.
Dean Barrett, Miro is a joy to listen to. More, please. Looking forward to the big burly bastard match versus Archer. Thought this episode was slightly flat. Really want Cody to come out to the Team America music at the pay-per-view. Just think about it. And Genetic Ghost, maybe this will be another hot take. Sorry for all the ultra chats, but it's the elite interpersonal stuff that gets me thinking about this every day. Been watching a lot of 2018 BTE, and so much of what happened there is playing into what's happening now. That is fascinating stuff.
Yeah, I wish they should. I mean, they really should take those clips and put them on Dynamite in some kind of video package. Christopher Jazzcat wanted to send some love to Ospreay. It really sucks that he got so badly injured. Having to vacate the belt he worked so hard for so many years must be heartbreaking. Wishing him a speedy and full recovery. Yes, indeed. If you haven't seen, by the way, Will Ospreay suffered a neck injury on the 4th of May, and he has had to vacate the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, which just sucks. CM Chris, hello Luke and Mr. Davis, gutted about Will Ospreay having to vacate the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship due to a neck injury. Also, another very fun Dynamite. I give it a high 4 out of 5. AEW is so much fun. Shout out to Carol, love her loads. Oh, sweet. Mayor of Painesville, Dan. Hey, Luke and Ollie, I hope you're doing well. I guess it's time for the annual question. Are you ready for Eurovision? UK is the favourite I've heard. Yes, I am. I'm going around my friend's house because it's legally okay, and we're going to have a Eurovision party.
I was loading up the Wikipedia page then to see if, like, the favorite last year was I can't wait to know what do you think about things, and I was looking to see if that is the entry again. And I don't even know what country it's for, but it's a banging tune that I generally do listen to quite a lot, and I hope it's in again because I think it will win because it's such a good song. But really, it's all political these days, isn't it? I don't even know why we'd bother going over.
We're going to get destroyed. It's going to be so much fun. because we Brexited the hell out of Europe. They are nil point. I want 0 points across the board. It's going to be so funny.
Well, it's all just political these days, isn't it, Ollie? It's never been political before Brexit, I'd say.
Christopher Jazzcat, glad to see you back, Mr. Davis. I would have honestly been heartbroken if Denise tried to blow you up. Demise is the best babyface on WrestleTalk, and a heel turn would be devastating. I don't know if you're trying to spell Denise wrong. Demise? Am I missing something?
Yep. No. I think that's just incorrect spelling, but it's absolutely fine.
Cool.
Denise is
done twice. Dartrain 24, there are plenty of Americans who are embarrassed to be American, especially since the presidential race of 2016. I would cheer somebody who had another flag for that reason. Ollie, how are you enjoying your new cheeks? They're soft. LV Emerald, I wasn't planning on sending anything, but Luke's working wine line is worth the $5. Also, as a half black, half white American, Stars and Stripes Cody versus a person of color heel also makes me uncomfortable. Sorry, Dream. Love you guys. Love AEW. Cheers. But LV, Cody solved it. I don't know what more you want. Dried chicken without flavor. Can I get a 2 sweet and a kawaii? Yes, you can. Dried chicken without flavor again. Luke Owen, can you give a shout out to Private Party and tell them this ain't water? What you drinking?
This ain't. I'm drinking cherries and berry squash from Sainsbury's.
Scotty Child, Mr. Davis, did you transplant your hair from your big hairy balls? No, it was my gooch. Loving the show has really cheered me up as I've been kicking leukemia's ass this year. Well done,
Yes,
Scotty.
well done.
Everybody give Scotty some fist bump in the chat. Fist bump emojis. Nay less, you guys missed some long-term booking with the Intangibles storyline. What's a storyline? Back on Quizzlemania after Retribution debuted, Luke's Retribution name was Splosion. Ollie, just fist Luke and team up already. Jeez. Yeah, okay. I need a tag partner. I'm gonna see who else is out there. And finally, for now, Jan Wonkowski, loving AEW still. I imagine if Crockett Promotions were to book the Attitude Era, this is what it would have been like. Yeah, maybe. And Dean Breton, any chance we can get Mr. Davis to verbally put down a dog like on the Raw review? Great stuff. Charles hasn't sent one in, has he?
No, it's only for Raw because Raw's not a good show to review. So he sends us in like a reward
yes.
for us. But like AEW, we don't get one.
Well, thank you very much for everybody joining us here today. We nearly stuck to an hour. But also go over and check out Wrestling GM, which is the wrestling fantasy booking virtual GM game. The link's in the video description below. It's really, really fun. And also go over to WrestleTalk and watch the WrestleTalk news from earlier today. We've got the magazine show coming up tomorrow here, so subscribe on the WrestleTalk podcast. But for now, I've been Mr. Davis. This has been Lukewarm Luke Owen. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam, everyone.